Meant so much to you.
Oh, that's right. We did have an event this weekend.
Not a massive
We had a book launch and it was super fun.
Oh my god. It was everything all in one. Because we didn't do a book launch for the first book. We didn't do a CD release for the CD. Because, I don't know, I was afraid nobody'd show up.
Because we're just low-key like that.
No, I was afraid nobody'd show up. We've planned lots of events with, we've had lots of really big events and stuff, but nothing so close to the bone or so, vulnerable and stuff. So it was kind of... It was
a big deal.
It was a little foray into courage for me, and it was really fun to plan. I really had a good time running around town, picking up all the stuff we needed, the coffee urn and the lemonade jug thing, and
making cakes.
Cups, saucers. Well, no, we didn't have saucers, but it was really, really fun. We had a great time down at the LSPU Hall, which is so haunted. It's unbelievable. And thanks to everybody that came out. It was a really, really fun night. And so someone actually brought a copy of For the Grace of Joe to the...
Which was your first book.
Which was the first book. And they ordered it and brought it down to get it signed, which is just kind of mind-blowing for me. I'm still catching up.
You know what that reminded me of? Remember in 1408 where John Cusack was doing the book tours and he was doing those kind of crappy horror travel books?
Pulp Fiction.
And then somebody showed up at one of his readings with something he wrote when he was 20 that he was actually proud of, but it was a big failure.
Okay.
It was just something else that he was like, oh my gosh, how'd you get a copy of that? Yeah. And they wanted him to sign it because they loved it, and it was
wild.
Yeah, it was like a.
You say I'm like John Cusack?
It was a big deal. Yeah,
I'll take it. I love John Cusack.
Well, he was playing Stephen King in that movie.
Was he?
So you're basically Stephen King.
Who I do talk about in the new book, How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. There's a chapter in there about how we went to the same university system. It was the University of Maine system. We both did, actually.
You basically went to college together.
We went to college together. We were both writers in college. I did the Parents on Campus newsletter, and he did the school newspaper. Same, basically. Anyway, it was a really great time. It was a really great evening, I think. And so we didn't do launches for the first, like I said, for the first couple of things that we made. And it was all kind of funny because it all happened last night. Yeah. It all happened last night. So there was a book signing for the Grace of Joe, which was unplanned. There was
a screening.
There was a screening of How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. And Josh, how do you think that went?
I think it was really awesome. The people that were there responded perfectly. They laughed at all the right spots and they gasped at all the right spots and they loved it. I don't want to speak for them, but from where I was sitting, everybody really seemed to like it. It was a great night.
Well, I'll tell you what it reopened for me is I had kind of put it to bed. I was done. That's just a thing I used to do. But it kind of sparked a little, you know what, maybe, because you and I found a lot of those things really funny. We find ourselves very, very funny.
We think we're very funny.
We keep each other entertained all the time. So it's always a shock when people are like, what? She's weird. And it's true, I am weird. But there's an audience out there for everybody. So that's my takeaway from this weekend is that there's an audience out there for anybody.
If you enjoy it, odds are somebody else enjoys it too.
Yeah. And there might be just 3-4 people on the planet. Maybe they all live in my house. I don't know. But it was a really good time. And so the screening happened, which, of course, the film, the doc series was never really... never made it off the cutting room floor, really, and it did. It got a good response, and I was really grateful to everybody that was there and showed up and was so encouraging and stuck around, and just we had a really great time. So thanks to the hall. How easy was it to get space at the hall? And they were so.
They gave us space. They handled the ticket sales. They had somebody there working and taking care of us while we were there. It was perfect.
Yeah, highly recommend the LSPU Hall. They've got great gear, and of course we had the second space downstairs, and so it was really, really fun. It was a great cap. Of course, the clocks went back on Saturday, so we actually gained an extra hour. I think we spent it pretty well.
Yeah, this is the time of year when everybody, half the clocks are wrong. You're never sure if the clock. I got 3 in front of me, and one of them says 6:10. Some of them say anyway. Yeah. So this is the time of year where nobody knows what time it is.
I usually take the first couple of weeks after a time change to fix the time. So it's it's 4 o'clock, but actually technically it's 3. Whatever it is, I do the math for weeks after because I really have trouble adjusting to
Is it earlier than it's supposed to be or later? Okay.
Big news today on the Mulberry Creek Hour. We've got one of my favorite musicians in the province. One of my favorite musicians. And he walked away with half the awards from Music NL Music Celebration Week just a couple of weeks ago. Baraka is in the studio today.
Yeah.
He's going to play for us. Baraka, right here. In this in this little space coming into your ear holes.
That's right.
Or if you're watching on Facebook Live, make sure you share this one because Baraka's amazing. And I actually went to a songwriter circle that he was a part of maybe about a year ago. He's amazing. He's absolutely beautiful human being, and we're so happy to have him on the show today. So, Josh, what do we have queued up? What are we going to do first?
I got a fun song here. It's the Dubliners and the Pogues live. So
What's the song?
it's the Irish Rover,
Oh, I love it.
and it's 17 minutes long. So take a nap.
Fabulous. So when we come back, we're going to have Baraka here in the studio on the Mulberry Creek Hour. This is the Irish Rovers with... Nope.
Nope.
This is the Dubliners with the song, The Irish Rovers.
What? Did you turn the camera on already?
That one's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
1806.
Why are we upside down?
It's just you got to click the screen one little more, half an inch.
More so.
Okay, I'll go get Baraka.
Why are we hanging on the ceiling?
We'll be right back, folks.
Tag team Morgan. So very well. Different song. All right, it's gonna be awesome. Baraka's here. I loves him.
So this is you.
Hello, lovely human. How are you?
Hello, Vicky. How are you? I'm good. I feel like it's been ages.
It has been. It feels like it's been a really
We
long
got
time.
Facebook Live going over there. We got a camera going over there that's just for us.
Cool.
Yeah, we post it on YouTube and do clips and stuff afterwards, just to
Yeah, sure.
maximize the what do you call it?
Reach,
Exactly.
I think is the word.
Exactly. So it goes everywhere. Everywhere we can put clips and stuff. It all. You know what? I say that, but essentially Josh puts it on YouTube, and then I have got this stack of shows that I've been meaning to sit with and take clips and stuff out of, and it's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
And I'm running out of excuses. I'm like, it has to get done because all the other projects we've been working on for the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
They're all getting done, so I was like, all right, what's left? You get buckle down.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
No.
trust me. I know the feeling. There's just a bunch of stuff that's just like, I should get to that.
Absolutely.
I'll probably practice
But the-
more before I do that.
Yeah, but the important work is getting done.
Yeah.
Essentially, like the stuff that we're really meant to be doing is getting out there. So
Exactly.
the rest of it will catch up.
At the end of the day, that's the most important thing,
Absolutely,
right? Like,
absolutely.
really, when it comes down to it, there's
Yeah.
core work and stuff that you do for support, and one is definitely
And
more
some
important
stuff,
than the
like
other.
some stuff, is just distracting. It's like I'd much rather
Yeah.
be doing this shiny thing over here than the dishes or taxes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes it's just more fun. I think
Should
that's
I
the.
restart that over there?
I think that's the art of being an entertainer or a performer. Is just sometimes stuff is just more. It just draws your attention, right?
Oh,
The
yeah.
energy brings you in.
That is just the way, it's part of the craft.
Absolutely,
as
absolutely.
I like to say.
So we're on Facebook Live, and we're going to be back in. I don't know how long this song is, but as soon as we come back,
All right.
this is very exciting.
Better explain.
I'll just get comfortable here.
So, is there anything you want me to ask about, or you're wide
No.
open?
Anything you got
Nothing.
coming up, or
No.
shows, or releases, or anything like that we can plug for you?
Ooh, not so much. I got a show at Schlanche. I literally just booked that right now. So
No
that'll be a nice-
way.
Yeah. November 23rd at Schlanche, the whiskey wine cocktail bar.
Nice.
So that's kind of like the first shameless plug that comes to mind.
No, it's no shameless, man. This is what you're doing. This is what you do.
Yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And is it just you?
Yeah. Just
No way.
Me. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Just me. I recently
That's
got like a
gorgeous.
loop pedal, so I'm having a lot of fun with that.
I love that.
So that's pretty cool.
New gear day is the favorite.
Oh
the
my
favorite
god, it's
days.
great.
How long
So-
have we got there, Josh?
About 30
I'm
seconds. So
excited.
pull the mic as close to you as you can, as you're
Okay.
comfortable with.
Yeah,
and
that
then
comes
when
out
you,
pretty
when
fine.
you play, I'll just kind of move it down so we can get the guitar and your voice and everything.
Sure.
I'm trusting the universe on this, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit. That song is it Island Queen
Mhm.
with the line you want the spire, but you keep putting out the spark.
Oh no, that's an unreleased song. That's,
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's
It's not released yet?
Nah.
Oh my god, that's my.
That's not out yet.
Oh, I love that. I love. See, you have to go to songwriter circles to hear stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. The one
That
time in a
line,
million.
that line is burrowed right in. I love that line
I
so much.
appreciate that.
That travels with me. Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
All right, so we got about 30 seconds. I'm just doing PSAs right now.
after hearing songs like that, it's like, yeah, of course he's winning awards. It's probably that song with the about the spark.
About the spark.
You're doing lots of awesome stuff. So it's like, no, he's got a million songs.
I actually might release that in the next.
Oh
project.
my god.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday.
Oh yeah,
with
that's
Dave and Matt. But yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. They've heard it, right?
Yeah, they've heard it. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And Island Queen is a different song, right?
Yeah, it's a different song. Yeah.
Seriously.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Mulberry Creek Hour. You're in for a treat. We got Baraka here in the studio. Baraka, thanks so much for being on the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and it's an honor.
I'm a big fan. I don't know if you know that or not, but we've been kind of jumping around our house going, oh my god, he's coming. We're so excited to have you here. Seriously, you're amazing. All right, so tell me about, introduce CHMR. So you know the CHMR reach is basically from here to Avalon Ford and probably down to Churchill Square. Mm-hmm. Like the actual radio reach, but then they're online and all that stuff, and we put it on YouTube and all those things. Let's introduce people that possibly, I don't know who hasn't heard of you, but for those few people that have been hiding under a rock, tell us about Baraka.
Yeah, so I'm a singer-songwriter. Mm-hmm. I moved to Newfoundland in 2015. I did the Bachelor of Commerce program. Yeah. I studied accounting, surprisingly, because my parents wouldn't let me study music. So I was like, yeah, well, you guys are paying for the degree, so I guess it's fair. So I buckled her down, did accounting, the whole thing, graduated, figuring life out as a young adult. And music just is the love of my life, and I couldn't stop playing, couldn't stop writing. So slow and steady, started doing the thing and playing the gigs, writing the songs, and I'm just grateful to be here, to be honest, just to be in this community of people who just listen and support, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a blessing to be here, and yeah, music is just, to put it simply, the love of my life.
So you're originally from Tanzania?
That's correct.
So what, and school brought you here.
Yeah.
What do you find there's anything, any particular special thing about Newfoundland? Do you find the environment here? Is there anything that, like, is it just that you're trapped in your house because of the weather most of the time? Like, what do you think, like, where's the creativity? How does it nurture creativity here in the province?
I get that question quite often, and my answer is always that Newfoundland is a very charming place. It's very intangible. Like, you can't really describe, other than the people, right? Like, for me, like, any artist, right? You are your community. At least that's what I believe in. So the people is definitely like the biggest factor. But when you go outside of that, this province has there's an intangible feeling, a charm that you can't really describe. And I'm not gonna lie, like when I came here for school the first time, most of international students, the mentality is like, oh, we're just gonna come here, get our degree, and then look for a move to like a bigger city, like a Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, those types of places. Mm-hmm. And then somewhere along the way, you realize just the depth of opportunity that exists here. It obviously depends on what you're doing, but for me, for music, I started, I'm good friends with Derek Graham, who was really doing the gigging thing downtown. And I started hanging out with him more often, and I was like, hold on, you can do something here. You can feasibly become a musician here. And that's what I've wanted to do all my life, so I'm like, why not?
It's amazing. It's so amazing to hear, and like there is something and it's almost like it seeps into your bones. Mm-hmm. We went away for a really long time, and we came back for a vacation. The very last vacation we came home for, I was like, I don't want to leave. Mm-hmm. And I love hearing from people who don't have like the family roots here, like not the tradition, but like the negative parts of it, like they knew you when you were 15 and they want you to be that same person and you can't really change or evolve. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice to get that fresh perspective of almost a tourist who decides to stay. Like Josh is from North Carolina, of course, so when he came, he thought it was all fresh and new, and it was like nice to see him through those eyes. Nice to see the province, because like, yeah, there are places to play, and there are lots of there is lots of opportunity. Tell me more about the opportunity. Tell me how you see that, because you have been playing a lot for quite some time.
Yeah. I've always been playing. When I was in school, I was doing the little gigs. I actually used to, every time I come to CHMR and I pass through the UC, there's a little corner where they used to have the cafe concerts. I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't think so.
Okay. There was
just start them up again, though.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's fantastic.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So for me, like, the music has always been, in one way or another, like a part of me. I've always done it to some capacity. Really, I'm sorry, can you just refresh my mind with the question again?
I don't remember.
Okay. I'll just kind of ramble along.
No. Hold on, let me remember. It was, Oh, about the opportunities.
Yeah. So I really want to shout out Music NL because I feel like personally they've changed my life. Like I went from being somebody who literally hated their job to being like, you know what, I quit. I'm just gonna start to, well, obviously it wasn't as extreme as that.
Yeah.
At least in my case it wasn't. But Music NL put me in a position where they're like, okay, this kid has something. And, there's so many grants available. You can talk to so many great people who really want to see this scene thrive and grow. Mm-hmm. And I'm so extremely grateful. Like, to do what I'm doing right now, I could have done it in Tanzania. It would have been exceptionally harder. But it's possible. It's not impossible. But, like, to come to a place where you're completely new. I'm not from here. And the way that the community just embraces you and they see like what you have to offer, your value, your artistic side, your person, like everything. They look at you and like, yeah, let's lift this person up. Whether that's through a grant, whether that's through a conversation with any one of the amazing staff out there, Chanel, there's Mariana, like all these lovely people are looking out for, really, to me, it's the art that comes first, which is, I never really experienced that in my life. You know what it's like with artists. Like sometimes, people will try to get a free gig out of you. There's no real value, but for the first time in my life, people looked at me and were like, you got something.
Oh my God.
So in that sense, I'm really, really grateful for like provincial bodies like that can really plant the seeds for the artistic scene to thrive, and I'm just eternally grateful for Music NL, yeah.
And that nails the actual mandate of Music NL, which is supposed to develop artists. Mm-hmm. And I'm not so sure that everybody's just kind-hearted. I've got to tell you, Baraka, I think there actually is something to this kid has something. Like there really is something that drives it. That's like, it's not like that for everybody, because people think about being a musician and stuff, and maybe they don't commit to it, or they don't really, put their heart and soul into it. But then there is a spark of this kid really to hear you play and to hear you tell the stories about the songs that you've written is like, oh yeah, we're not like, I can't imagine you're going to be here for too long before you're off, just touring the world, because you're like just such a talent. I'm sure everybody that touches anything to do with your career would say the same exact thing. That's like, we had a part of that. We're so proud that we had a part of that. We just want. Hopefully he remembers our name. It's really for real. It's such talent, and I'm glad that you've been embraced here. It's been really amazing.
We
were trying to figure out earlier. We met a guy this summer from Tanzania, and I don't want to do that thing where like, hey, do you know this guy? But you have to know Nathaniel from the Association of Canadians, right?
Yeah. I know Nathan. He's great.
There's not many people from Tanzania here,
and he's a musician, and
funny story about Nathan. So I got the song. It's track number 4 on Voicemail. The EPA put out. It's called "I Will Be There." Mm-hmm. When I first wrote that song, I remember it was just coming out of like a really dark place in my life. And I hung out with Nathan and we just played it. We jammed it out. He was playing electric, I was playing acoustic. That was the first time I ever played that song with a person. And like 3 years down the line, I've come to put it out, and it's been massively received. And I don't know, it's just it's so cool that you mentioned Nathan. And he's just been such a big part of my like story arc so far. So
that's amazing.
That's Newfoundland for you. Community.
And he's another person that stuck around after school was over. He found he loved it here and just wants to stay. And it's such a richer, like so much of a richer community. And when we were here, when I grew up in Newfoundland, it was a bowl of rice. It was a bowl of white rice. There was no, rarely will we see a person who was anything different, any different cultures, and there was nothing.
Different languages, different countries.
It was salt, beef, and potatoes. It was, whatever, peas pudding, but there was no such thing as and so I remember going to the grocery store now. There's such an influence because there's so many other cultures here that the vendors, like the people selling here in the province, have changed what they offer to match up with the other cultures that are here. And so our kids are so much richer for it.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of stuff with the Association for New Canadians and with the Tombolo Festival, and so they're getting this multicultural experience in St. John's, Newfoundland, which is like, I'm not that old, but that wasn't my experience. And it was thrilled to bring the kids home and raise them here, because they're just getting all these musical influences, and they're, they hear like Zia 3 just has a show coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks. They're amazing. Like, that's an instrument. I can't even pronounce the name of it, right? She's amazing. She's like what do you call it? Virtuoso on this instrument. Couldn't tell you. I couldn't even spell it, let alone, right? It's just, anyway. Not to lump everybody in that's not from Fogo, but there's a whole culture now. There's a whole community of music that's, it's not, I kind of grew up with the folk people who were the same 8 people who always played at all the festivals, and everybody got all the gigs. And now there's just this melting pot of you can go see so many different genres.
That makes it even better that
It's
when
amazing.
when you go out there and you're not from here, they're not like, oh, you're not from here.
Yep.
It's more like, yeah, come on, like
Oh yeah.
you're getting a response from the music community, the audience community as a whole of like, yes, bring it on, like we love it. Yeah, that
And of course,
makes it
it
even
also
better.
helps that you're so uber talented.
Yes, that's right.
And I want to get to that because I'm a really big fan. And so you, what do you want to play for us today, Baraka?
Oh man, I'll play some songs off Voicemail, the EP
Absolutely,
I put out this past summer.
Yep.
Let's pick this thing up here.
Cue it up. Tell us what you're going to play.
And I will. I'll play.
It's a gorgeous guitar, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So I actually recently got this guitar. It was 100% an impulse buy, and my reasoning for the impulse buy is that like when you're looping, you don't want a big guitar when you're doing the whole percussion thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, that's how I justify my reckless spending habits. But anyway,
It's like when Harry Potter picks out his wand.
Well, I was just
Wand
gonna say
picks you.
that's a little bit like Ed Sheeran plays that little.
yeah.
What's he got, a little Martin or a little Taylor or something?
Yeah.
But he's always doing the looping, and that makes sense that you don't have something
Oh, yeah.
giant attached to you.
Ed Sheeran is also one of my heroes, so
Oh, yeah.
I am just copying.
He does some amazing stuff.
Emulating. I love it. I love it. All right, what do you got for us?
All right, audio is all good here.
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect.
Yeah, ready.
So this song is my personal favorite. It's called "The Longest Night of My Life," and the story behind it is kind of like exactly that. I was going through a breakup, and every day just felt like a really long night. So I thought I would write about the way that I felt, and yeah, it turned into a song.
Love. You seem like the happiest guy on the planet, and the story, like this was the fact that you share that it's not always like amazing, that it's not a perfect day every day. I just love that so much.
appreciate
Oh my
that.
God! All right, this is Baraka. This is the Mulberry Creek Hour.
Feeling present in the past. I'm a silhouette, I don't know. I'm walking over broken glass, crying over photographs, broken frames, broken dreams. 'Cause every day without you is the longest night of my life. Yeah. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Girl, I know that I shouldn't have lied. And I know you tried. Walk away, broken boy. I never knew I needed time from you. And I said, yeah, I know you are right. I was wrong, I won't fight. No, no, baby. Everything about you, baby, was the happiest part of my life. Yeah, yeah. I cannot be without you. Also, baby, you know I had to try to get you back, baby, baby, oh yeah, yeah. I wanna try, I wanna try. One more shot, baby, give me one more shot. I wanna try for you, yeah. I wanna try for you. Give me one more shot. Baby, give me one more shot. Yeah, I wanna try for you. Yeah, I wanna try for you. Try. I wanna try.
Oh my God! Oh my God! You're amazing. This Baraka on Mulberry Creek Hour. How lucky are we? You know what a wonderful little scam it is. We've got this radio show here, and we can just invite people in that we want to hang out with. It is the greatest scam of all time.
A wonderful
It's
little
amazing.
scam is a fantastic title.
What I love that. We should write that. That's amazing. So tell me about the new album. Like, so was this your first album?
This is my first EP, yeah.
First EP.
Yeah.
And
Album, EP, it's really the same thing these days.
we put out, we called it a record. We put out this year too. And so, it's an album. It's a piece of material that didn't exist before. And of course, you're with Hurricane Records as David and Matt, right?
Yeah, Dave Shears and Matt Dines.
They're the two greatest guys.
Yeah, they're great.
They're so unbelievably sweet. Matt Dines is like, we did sound for a couple of times at some Tombola festivals. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's under control.
Knows
it's going to sound great.
everything.
He is, and kind-hearted, and just so much talent behind it. Mm-hmm. So your first album was put out when? What was the date?
I put out June 29th.
Just this year?
Just this year.
Okay, and so the Music NL Awards, was there one? There was more than one, right?
There was one, yeah. There was 4 nominations, but I won one.
Right.
Because everybody in this province is a god, so
my God.
the competition is hard.
How sweet. What was that like? Because so we had a gala night. We were all pumped up for a red carpet and photographers, and it was a rainy night in Newfoundland, so everybody came in with their winter jackets. Everything was covered. What was that like in that full room at Holy Heart Theatre to, like... You seemed really surprised, which nobody in the room was, but you were the only guy surprised.
I don't know, like I've won competitions before, where there's like a prize value or something like that. But that was the first time in my life where like to receive recognition for just making my art, just like existing.
Wow.
And making this music and just really trying to put something positive out there. So it felt very surreal. In many ways it was like, like you've been doing this for years, and this is like definitely the highest point.
Noticed.
Right? Like somebody noticed. Like, this is a province I immigrated to. I knew nothing about the music scene. I've kind of like crammed it all in my head in the last 3 years, and I keep learning, I keep growing. But to receive that award, first of all, every single time the nomination screen came up and I saw my name there, I'm like, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Like, I'm looking at myself, alongside really incredible musicians.
They're saying the same thing about you.
Right?
My God.
Right? And this is my first Music NL Awards year. So I had never
Yeah.
been to a gala. I didn't know what the process was. I didn't know what it felt like to win. And then my name got called up there for Global Music Artist of the Year. And I'm like, hold on. I was sat next to Matt and Dave and all the friends at Hurricane Music. And I looked at them and I was like, is this the time to go up? So it was really surreal. It was great. It was something that I cherished that, and in many ways it made me hungrier. Like, it made me want to just keep writing and keep recording and keep gigging and keep singing, and because to me it's really trippy. But that moment, it felt like 10 seconds, right? And I just want to get those 10 seconds again.
Oh my
you
God.
put in hours and hours and days and weeks and months of work, and that 10 seconds recognition is
it's that feeling you're going to reach for forever after.
Exactly. You're going at it again, and you're going knowing that you're doing it among people who are you share values with, really kind, really driven, and who have a very clear plan and clear vision of what they want to do and what they want to put out in the world, which I think is the most important thing. And that's probably the most important lesson so far. I know I'm not a veteran by no means. I'm still young, I'm still learning, but in this field of work, you really have to find friends, right? People that you share value with, people that understand you and what you try to put out in the world, people that that they'll walk into any room and they'll be like this guy, right? So I'm really grateful for my family at Hurricane Music, Dave and Matt. Oh man, every single day there's a conversation okay, what are we doing next? Okay, what do you want to do next? And it's great, and Music NL is great, like I already said, and Newfoundland is great, and I'm honestly just grateful to
So
be
happy
here.
to be here. Isn't it amazing?
It's all great.
It's so nice, and the feelings, all the little steps along the way, those little feelings that you follow, That's kind of like when you know you're on the right path too. When those things pay off, because I suspect. Did you watch Parks and Recreation when it was on?
No, unfortunately, I didn't.
Okay, so this is your assignment. Go watch 6 seasons of Parks and Recreation. But there's a guy on there who's an accountant, and he keeps getting this job at this. They're so excited to get him, and every time he comes in, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to start here on Monday morning." And the whole office, they're all accountants, so they're a little nerdy and boring. They're like, "Oh my God, Ben's here!" And then within a day, he's like, "I hate this. I have to leave." And they're all like, "Oh, okay." And he keeps coming, and I feel like that the accounting world lost out, and you wouldn't feel that great about an accounting award, right? Like moving this, no offense to the accountants, but moving this pile of paper from one side of the desk to over here. If you drop dead, someone else will do it, right? But who's going to write Baraka songs? That's you're on this planet for that's such a beautiful gift that you have, and you're following it, which is just so nice to be next to you, like just to be sitting next to you, someone living their dream who's excited about life, who is drawing the right people to him as well, who are just as excited. And you're right, you have to surround yourself with supporters and friends, and the people who don't get you. It's great, like you get a few songs out of it. You do get a few songs out of a few books, even out of the bad experiences. But when you really want to thrive, you need to have people who, when they're in a room, your name is safe in their mouth.
Yeah.
That they're going to say positive things and they're going to represent you in such a good way. And I'm going to shout out to Dave Shears and Matt Dines, who are just the most genuine people anyway. But they are such good representation for you, and I know they'll handle your career in music so like a fragile little
baby,
fragile little baby, because these songs are your babies, right? And so when someone comes along and says maybe you should change this first, or maybe you should change this around, it's like saying, maybe the color of your baby's hair should, like what? What do you mean? I worked hard on those babies. So tell me, Baraka, about. Because I know you've written a lot of songs from dark places. Tell me about the creative process for you. Where does it happen in the shower? Do you hear the songs first? Where's the spark happen?
So, I don't know if this is true for every musician, but I, for one, will admit that I never shut up. I'm like, from the minute my alarm goes off in the morning, I'm like, no, like all day. Even when I'm quiet, my head is just like thinking melody all the time. So, in that way, it's almost like, not to get like, I don't know if hipster or hippie is the right word, but like it's very spiritual for me. Like I almost don't, like, obviously I take credit for writing the music and creating the art because I've done it, but it really does come from a higher place. Like sometimes when you write those songs in like 10 minutes and you're like, oh yeah, that's a great song, and it took you 10 minutes, and then you try another song and it takes you 6 months, right? So like there's an element of skill to it. Like you have to repeatedly do something to get good at it. Mm-hmm. But for me, the creative process, it starts with being in tune with what it is you're trying to put out and what it is that's coming into you in terms of inspiration, motivation, whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's, you saw a rainbow today, you're happy about that. Maybe you like the sound of rain and the smell of the earth when it rains. Like, that's the one thing. I used to think I always had to have lines. You don't, like, thinking that way is maybe one way. Maybe it works for some, maybe it works for others. But for me, I found is just be in tune with the energy around you. When you feel like you're writing a song, it's a pen and paper, right? So like it really does start with being in tune with the energy around you and just write. Mm-hmm. Like that's just my mantra. There's no formula. Like, yes, you can study about song form and chord structure and keys and chords in the key and all of that, and that'll help you, but it'll just help you communicate that which you're harnessing. So it really does start with just being in tune with the energy around you and just pick up a pen and paper and write in your preferred instrument. Even without an instrument, you could just hum melodies and write. Mm. So for me, the creative process is free form. Like, it can happen at any time. It can happen in the shower. It can happen at work. It could happen in a cab ride. It could happen on a bus ride. It can happen right now. Like, I might play a series of notes I've never played before, I've never thought about. And I'll go home and be like, wait, I've played that. Let me try to write something down. Yeah. That being said, I really do try to put the right message out there. However that may take shape in story. So if it's about a breakup, it might be about intimacy. It might be about, I don't know, maybe just bragging about something, right? It's whatever you want it to be, but I really try to make music to leave the world a little bit of a better place than how I found it, and I just take that one song at a time, one line at a time, one verse at a time.
And what an honor to contribute to that frequency, you know, that, because I feel, it sounds like it feels like it comes from a feeling or an emotion or a frequency that's around you. And tuning in and having the skills to have it come out through your fingers or through your pen and paper or whatever is such an honor, really, to be like, why you? Why me? Why anybody? Like, because not everybody wants to do this stuff. Doesn't that like seem really strange to you? Like, doesn't everybody want to be a musician? Like, but there's people who are so gifted with other things, other careers, and it's like, yeah, great for them. But if you're called to it, I feel like it's such a gift to be able to. And I've talked to people sometimes who are like didn't know how to play guitar, but they wanted to be songwriters. And I'm like, well, then you either sit with somebody who can play, or pick up a guitar. A ukulele has less strings. It's not as it's not as technical. But like that, having that channel, because it really does feel like a channeling of stuff that's supposed to be here, and it comes through you, and that's really beautiful. That's like I know there's a hesitation, like I don't mean to be too spiritual. Like it is 100% spiritual. And I think everybody that sat at this seat with us has said almost identical things too. It's not really me doing it. It's just coming through me, and it's like, well, not really, because he didn't write it. Like the guy no, they didn't write it. So there really has to be some credit for who guides the doctor's hand.
Yeah, for sure. And
there's something there.
And for me, like, the credit is for just being in tune with the energy, being in tune with the universe, God, whatever you believe in. It's like, I really believe there's a higher power out there just guiding me. Like, the way that my life has turned out, in even just thinking, like, from 2020 to now, if you told me in 2020 that I'd be, like, sitting here with a music and award and, like, an EP drop and a team that believes in what I do, I would have been like, what? What do you mean? So like, just when you just focus on yourself, you focus on whatever's available to you, you focus on your community, because that's something that I believe like really heavily in. It's kind of like the way of life that I got accustomed to in Tanzania. Like it's really hard to describe in English, because I don't know if there's a way to describe it, but like the term is Ubuntu, and essentially if I were to put it or to describe it, it's like I am who I am because my community is what it is, right? Like if I'm sick, my community's sick, right? If somebody in my community is unwell, I'm unwell, and like that very much is artists, right? Like we, for one, reflect society, and we are part of society. And like when society is moving a certain way, like people always want to bash trends and all these things that are happening, but like you really have to look at the side, like where is society heading, right? Like the music that's coming out right now is very much a product of society, and like artists are who they are because their community is what it is, right? And that'll never change.
I find it's like a library, like depending on the time. If you go to a library and look through like the microfiche of all the newspapers of the time, like that's a reflection of what was going on at that time, and the music in such a big way reflects what is going on. So if you go back to the 60s and 50s and stuff here in Newfoundland, the music was different, but it reflected what was going on. And right now, if you took a snapshot of what's going on in Newfoundland, this is where we are, 2023. Like we just came out of a pandemic. People were trapped, couldn't leave their homes for such a long time. There was a lot of big feelings. So there was lots of breakups and lots of things falling apart and lots of rebirth, lots of regrowth, and people finding their way to, I'm not going back to that office job. I don't want to do that ever again. And I started taking whatever lessons or whatever it is. But there was a lot of people really finding themselves and really finding their voices and their spirits and communicating with, because when you have no one to talk to, there is stuff starts talking to you, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I'll write that down. Do you have to write it down right away? Does it ever come back? Like, have you ever had a song come back to you if you didn't have a pen and paper on hand? Yeah. And I found out that's where like kind of like where the professional side of it comes to play. As a songwriter, I understand there's a level of consistency that I need, and you just have to automate that, right? Like, so for me, we run around with these things that can practically do everything. Like, you can run an entire empire from a phone. So I just use the Notes app, right? Anytime I get an idea. I think some things are just absolutely designed for people who are creative and need that thing on hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So sometimes it may be like, maybe I'm in the studio and Matt's playing the guitar and plays it, like literally. Over the last week, I've written a song. Like, he was just like messing about. I don't know what he was doing on a random Friday night, but he took a little video. It was like 10 seconds, and it was a progression. I'm like, wait, I like that. And a week later, I've written a song on that. Right? So there is that automation that you need to be a professional.
Absolutely.
And it just.
And the collaboration can happen from so many different parts of the world. You don't need to be in the same room, so you get to communicate. And to have producers working on your stuff that are also musicians and talented musicians must be
Oh, it's great.
It must be amazing.
It's great. I was actually just like talking to Matt literally last night about this. It's like in the process of making a song, there's so many things you can outsource, the mix, mastering, all that. But for me, is when you find a producer that you can trust. Like, I listen to stuff the way Matt plays, and I'm like, yeah, he knows. Like, from the very first time I saw him play guitar, I'm like, yeah, he plays exactly like how I play. And we just, without saying a word, I never tell Matt what to do. Never. Like, now, he is a better guitarist than me. I think he's by far a better musician than me. But there's so many more better musicians than me, and I look at them like, yeah, it's just not my flavor, not my style, right? And they're great. Technically, they're insane.
Right.
But when you find your tribe, when you find that person who understands the frequency that you're on, it's just automatic.
It's like a language.
It is.
It's like a language, and it's really, it transcends a whole lot of other words. And just when you were talking about the word Ubuntu in Tanzania, like, I've heard that, and I don't know where, but it was just
it's a Linux thing. It's a computer operating system.
Yeah.
No.
So, but that's where it came from on their website. It says, this is because we are who we are because of who we all are, or whatever. That's like the idea of the operating system. So it's really funny that
it was a little more. I think the one I heard was a little more woo woo.
I had a bunch of computer nerd friends when I was in high school. So. But I mean, it's the same idea, right? That's where they got it from.
I love that
idea of community.
I love that.
Like it's so like big and important. Like even like when I was designing my logo, like it's the letters BRK, which are the only consonants in my name, and a tree, because to me, like, I always kind of envisioned music being one of those experiences where, like, you're sitting down around a tree, like, you know, just a bunch of community sitting there enjoying the music, the stories, right? Like, there was this big mango tree at my grandma's house where you used to sit and just like shoot the my French just kick it and tell these stories and share songs and all that. So like that image in my head is exactly what I imagine like music to be doing for the world. Like we really are who we are because of everything else that is around us, the people,
environment, absolutely.
The environment and all that. And
I love trees.
Yeah.
I absolutely love trees. And there's just when I see like the really old ones in the forest and we go for walks and stuff, like what they've seen, like the people that have walked past those trees and the stories that they have is just so incredible. And I read somewhere that the trees are able to communicate. We have these friends that we call the mushroom people because I met them in the forest. They just came out of we just saw them yesterday, and we call each other the mushroom people. But they said that there's a communication between the trees, that they know, like I don't know, but there is something to it, like how deeply the roots go. And there's actually, I've seen images of that the roots underneath the tree are almost identical to the branches that come out of the top. Yep. And there's like a whole other world going on below the surface, and it's just such a. And there's seasons of trees that if you see like certain trees in Newfoundland especially, they look raggedy this time of year when all the leaves fall off. They're not in their season. But if you wait for a few more months, they're blossomed and beautiful and providing so much shade and fruit and all these places for birds to live. And it's like that tree of life is so incredible to me. Just
we forget about it, but like they're living things. A lot of things around us are living things. Like we know it technically, like there's living and non-living things. But like I think people just go about thinking that only animals and human beings are living, but it's not true.
And how do they know? Like how does that little acorn know to bring what it needs from the soil to turn it into a tree? Like as opposed to a turnip. I get off on turnips all the time. How does the turnip seed know to get that from the manure around it? Like how does it know? And it's just the energy, I think, draws what it needs to it. Yeah. Much like you described the music world, is you draw what you need to it and you get on the same frequency. So when you have a tune in mind, Matt has the technical proficiency to translate what you want. And so you can trust him with your name is safe in his mouth and your music is safe in his hands. Like that's a beautiful, I love that. I'm just so inspired. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Would you mind playing another tune for us, Baraka? Because I need to sit here and cry for a few minutes.
Of course. Speaking of crying, this is one that is a fan favorite. It's the song I wrote. It's called "Wine Drunk."
Oh.
And the
This is amazing. Can you come back every single week? This is amazing.
I mean, if you have me, sure.
This is incredible.
Yeah. So the story behind this one is I was seeing this girl at some point in my life. She was a Newfoundlander, and one of the things we really enjoyed doing was drinking wine together, and Now, after the breakup, I was sipping on the bottle. I can't remember what it was, but I never really experienced that emotional wine drunk. You know, when you remember someone and you want to call them, you want to text them, you want to do all these things that you shouldn't be doing. And then it happened, and like immediately, like it came to me like a wave, like this is what people are talking about. So that's kind of the story behind Wine Drunk. I didn't call my ex. Gratefully did not call my ex, so because that was a can of worms I did not want to open at all. But yeah, I got a song out of it instead, and it's I think it won me the award.
I love it. I love that.
So this is Wine Drunk. It is track number 2 on voicemail, and it's available everywhere. And this is how it goes.
Thank you.
Time that summer in pouring rain, I think about the things you said, the way you tried in vain. I think about it all, but not over you, no. I think about your gentle touch, I think about the way you laugh. Try to say it don't miss much, but it's really, really tough when I think about the better days. Oh, the better days, oh, the better days. And I held your hand when we made amends. I'll be alright, all day and night. So when I kissed your lips, held you by the lips. Oh, I think about it all. Oh, I think about it all. When I'm wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk. When I'm wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk. When I'm wine drunk, wine drunk. No baby, when I'm wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk, yeah. Every sip of rose is the way you kiss. Cabernet and making love with you was bliss. I think about the look in your eye at midnight, oh, and dim light. Miss the way you hold me, babe. Miss the way you call my name. Miss the things you used to say. Every time I was afraid, I miss it all, miss it all. When I remember in the way that you would turn to me. Oh, I found comfort, I found a home. Within it, something burning me. It's not the liquor, oh, it's moving on, yeah. And I don't know who I am, where I'm going, where I stand. If I'm flying, where I land, oh, passion by. But at the bottom of a bottle is the memories we share, and not a moment will be spared. Now, yeah. Now, wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk. Now, wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk. Now, wine drunk, wine drunk. Wine no baby when I'm wine drunk, wine drunk. Wine no baby when I'm, oh my baby when I'm, oh my baby when I'm wine drunk, wine drunk. Wine no baby when I'm wine drunk, wine drunk. Wine no baby when I'm wine drunk, wine drunk, wine drunk, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so gorgeous. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, Baraka, you're so amazing. Oh
I
my God.
appreciate you.
I'm
Thank
so glad you sat down with pen and paper instead of calling her.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been another song if you had, but who knows, right? But I'm
Who
like,
knows?
that's so gorgeous. Like, seriously, you're such a treasure, and we're
you.
so lucky to have you here in Newfoundland. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the award. Of course, we can catch Baraka at Sláinte on November 23rd, 25th.
Yeah,
23rd,
yeah.
November 23rd. You can catch him.
7
It's
p.m.
a solo show at 7 p.m. at Sláinte. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everybody that came out to the release yesterday, the book release down at the LSPU Hall, and so I'm going to do Loser Anthem before we close out Mulberry Creek Hour this week. Next week we have Richie Perez is going to be here in the studio, and this is just like the greatest scam of all time.
Yeah.
This show, the Mulberry Creek Hour, is the greatest honor of my life because I get to talk to people like you, and it's just so encouraging to hear this, like the angst, the angst turned into something creative and beautiful, and I'm just so honored that you're here, and thank you so much. Come back anytime.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and I will for sure be back.
Absolutely. So this is Loser Anthem. This is from the show that never got made called How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, and we recorded this with Corey Tedford. It's on the EP, and we'll see you next week. This is one for all of those that told me no, for all of those fools that said I shouldn't say so, telling me to slow down when I just wanna go. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm getting older, but I don't have to age. Tell my mother I'm still going through a phase, earning every wrinkle upon this happy face. Whoa, 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 whoa. If you don't get a tingle up the back of your spine, no regret in the morning, did you even have a time? You all want a story, well I'm still writing mine. Whoa, 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 whoa. While it's still beating, listen to your heart, 'cause each fall down's another chance to start. Each fall down's another chance to start. Sneaking backstage just to get an autograph. Maybe if you start a band you get the last laugh. It's hard to hold a candle when you're running in the rain. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is one for all of those that told me no, for all of those fools that said I shouldn't say so, telling me to slow down when I just wanna go. Whoa, 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 whoa. It was the Mulberry Creek Hour. That was Loser Anthem. Thanks again to Baraka for being here. It's such an honor to do this show every week. Thanks to Josh Morgan behind the board as always, and thanks to CHMR for giving us space and airtime to do what we love to do. And keep writing music, folks. If you're listening, if you feel called to that, pick up a pen and paper, pick up a guitar, do a fiddle lesson in the winter. That's coming, and I'll have details on that next show. But yeah, stick around. There's a beautiful show coming up after us from Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
There's a Ukrainian show coming up after this. So Mulberry Creek is on every Monday at 5 o'clock. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, get in touch with us. We are always happy to sit down with the beautiful musicians who are making beautiful music here in the province. And stay safe, everybody. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next Monday.